Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch, and today I'm going to be talking about Days with My Stepsister, Episode 3. Now, this episode was basically all I wanted. It was such a great bookend to, I guess, basically the prologue of the series, and also to wrap up the story arc I mentioned last time, or rather the character arc, wherein Saki and Yuta are becoming more intertwined and they're losing their independence, but not in a bad way. So let's just get right started because we cover a bunch of interesting things this episode. We don't get the main meat of the story till the end, but it's because it's slowly building up and we see glimpses of what happened during the accident throughout the episode in like this film reel style, which is really cool, along with Saki's inner dialogue, or inner monologue I should say, that's extracted straight from her diary. So it all starts when Yuta asks his mother and sister if they're okay with him washing their garments, and they explain to him, no, underwear is delicate, and if you don't know how to do it, it'll probably just ruin it, so we'll do it for you. And Saki, usually the ever level-headed one, pretty much overreacts here because she thinks that Yuta likes to cross-dress, and she assumed that he didn't know anything about women's underwear. And she really overcorrects by apologizing profusely on something that's not even confirmed. You can tell Yuta is like, whoa, calm down. What's going on here? And it's because Saki is feeling so frustrated over what has happened in the last episode that she really can't get her thoughts together. She is so indebted to Yuta at this point that she's trying everything to make it up to him, to be the perfect sister, to be the perfect partner, whatever she has to be. She really overcorrects with this, and Yuta diffuses the situation by saying, I understand that you felt like you need to apologize, and if you need to apologize, then you did, and you reflected on what you thought you did wrong, and that makes us good. There's no punishment involved for adults for those kinds of situations. As long as you understand where you went wrong or where you think you went wrong, even if no one else thinks that, then you've improved yourself as a person, and that's good enough. It's really like he's speaking to what happened last episode, where Saki was not paying attention and almost died. So he's really saying, it's okay, you don't need to apologize for that. You understood what you did wrong, and it's good when we're even. But of course, Saki does not feel like they're even, and she will never feel like they're even now, because at this point, their lives are completely connected. She breaks them even with the incident in the morning when Yuta sees her underwear and his eyes are drawn toward it, and he explains afterwards, he's like, yeah, of course it was woman's underwear, my eyes were drawn toward it. But just because I had urges to take them or touch them or whatever, it doesn't mean I would act on them. And this is the main theme of the episode, being that even if you have an urge to do something, as long as you don't act on that urge, it doesn't matter. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, have urges to do terrible things, especially to people that they really don't like. But they don't do them because they're normal people. And you don't always act on every urge you have because you're not a child. And this shows a lot of maturity, especially in Yuta, which I think is what really is sucking Saki into liking him. Because she has been missing her father for such a long time because her father was a huge failure. Her father not only was failed himself, he went on to be a failure to the family and to put all the burden on her mother. So in a way, it's worse than if her father had died because her father became the exact opposite of what he should have been. And so now, when Yuta is showing this maturity and caring for her, it's the first time in a long time that a member of the opposite sex has cared about her so much. I think this is one of the things that's really confusing her and putting her off balance, so to speak. Of course, then Yuta opens up with his own story and how his mother cheated on his dad and left the house, and his dad was traumatized for a while, and even Yuta as well. He doesn't say it, but Saki surmises it, that he and his dad had a pretty substantial fear of women after that moment because of the magnitude of the betrayal. This is why Yuta was not interested in any girls at school. It's why he didn't know about any of the rumors surrounding Saki. He doesn't know who the most popular girl in class is because he doesn't care to be around them. Not because he doesn't like them per se, but because he's traumatized by his mom. And I thought that was really good. These two backstories tie a lot together, and it sets the stage for the end of the episode, wherein Saki has come to a rather initially seeming absurd conclusion, but when you think about it, it's not really. Her thought process wouldn't naturally lead her to this extreme, where she offers to sleep with her brother for money in order to repay him. Of course, she doesn't say in order to repay him, but it's what she is desperate to do. She is desperate to not be indebted to him. She's desperate not to have to rely on him. And at this point, she has no choice but to. It all culminates in this wonderful crescendo when it flashes back to everything that has happened in Saki's own vision and what she's thinking and how she's beginning to like Yuta more and more and how he's basically the best person she could have ever met. And he understands her on such a deep level, and they connect so well and communicate so well that she is terrified. And so she tries to end it in this moment by severing that relationship and bringing it back to what she's comfortable in, to being a transactional relationship, just like her father accused her mother of being. And thankfully, Yuta does not beat around the bush in rejecting her. He is not shocked or anything. Well, he is shocked, but he's not flustered. He pushes her away and says that she's being the exact kind of person that he hates. And he explains it. And she says, no, you understand why I'm doing this. She doesn't say it, but because he understands, she knows that he knows why she's doing this. And so she asks him why he stopped her if he understands. And he said, it's because it's for your sake, not mine. It's this admission that he really cares for her, to double down from when he saved her life from ending. He really cares for her, and he will not do anything that will hurt her in the long or short run. And so they apologize, and I believe this is where they have a talk about their past. And they finally truly open up to each other after living together for probably, less than a month at this point? The dates are there at the beginning of every episode and in between. So I bet I could figure out a pretty strict timeline. But the main point is that now they are truly siblings living in the same house. And the unfortunate thing is that Saki has gone even further than that. Probably one of the reasons she wanted to put a stop to all this is because she knows that she loves her stepbrother more than she should. She will not act on this urge, as Yuta was saying earlier. Just because you have an urge doesn't mean you need to act on it. Unfortunately, now we have gone back around full circle where she is trying to suppress her feelings even more. She's trying to suppress herself. She does not want to call him her big brother because then she will not be able to hold herself back. She will not be able to maintain her current character. She will not be able to maintain her independence, and she is terrified of losing that. But that's not a bad thing. When you're in a good family, you depend on each other. To try and circumnavigate that would be to fail not only yourself as a family member, but to fail your family members as yourself. And unfortunately, she doesn't understand that yet. And it's understandable why she doesn't understand that. And it's understandable why Yuta is in a similar position. But now they're getting gradually closer. And I am really, really interested to see how things go from here. Unfortunately, it's pretty clear as day that this is a step-siblings, almost incest type of story. But with how they've handled it so far, I am super interested to see how they handle the resolution. If we get that this season, whatever we get this season, if it continues to be as good as this, then I am sure I will love it. A small touch this episode, I noticed a lot of times Saki's face was cut out of the frame, either blocked by an object or something else, and I find that really interesting. It's so we can't see what she's thinking. They did that last episode too, where when they were talking at the table, it was almost always from Saki's back, so you couldn't see her face, but you also couldn't see Yuta's face because it was erased out. Now you can when they're in the same position, and I don't know if that's director's choice or a stylistic choice. If it's a stylistic choice, I really like it because now Saki is paying attention to what he's thinking on his face. Again, this episode was so good. I didn't even talk about the mention of the friend coming over and what they did because it wasn't really important. The fact that her friend came over is what was most important, and I assume her friend will have more involvement in the story later on. That being said, that's all I have to say on this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.